That man's name was George Floyd. When J.K. Rowling had the audacity to suggest that penises and vaginas were different, we did a 72-part series on the fallout from her comments, including interviewing many of her slaves. After I was asked to leave the New York Times because I was too much of a rogue and a truth teller, I started the Free Press because I really wanted to encourage and foster open discussion and debate between people in New York, Miami, Tel Aviv. I am a huge supporter of freedom of speech. It's one of the things that I find most important. When David Ellison called me and said, "Would you like to run CBS News?" I had to think about it because I really enjoyed my blog, my 17 listeners, and this podcast. But I ultimately decided that $150 million was enough money to come into CBS News and turn it around. The scenes unfolding out of Minneapolis are incredibly disturbing. People are looking at their televisions and they're not recognizing this as America. So we thought it most important right now to speak to Greg Bavino, who's the commander-at-large of ICE, who's now been demoted, and he's now the maitre d' of an Italian restaurant in Paramus, New Jersey. Without further ado, Greg Bavino. Greg, how does it feel to have gone through such a whirlwind in the last 2 weeks?
Madonna mia, the pizza I make it, they fly out the window.
Now you're working at a restaurant, an Italian restaurant?
Sicilian restaurant, we call it Anthony and Son.
Some people say that ICE actions in Minnesota equate to fascism. What would you say to that?
Fashion. I wear the bow tie every day. I work, I do the bow tie. I got the apron, I got the bow tie, the jacket, nice, and the flower over here. Hey, baby, you want a little bit?
Do you have anything to say to the families of the victims of Minnesota?
Let's continue.
Everybody love it when I cook. Give bella amore. I'm taking my cucchiaio. La 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 la. Caffè espresso, espresso, espresso. Brew a little espresso. I give everybody a little espresso. I got a nice big cornicello. Che bello cornicello. Cornicello for everybody that wishing me bad. I give it
That's beautiful. Greg Bavino, thank you so much for coming on and joining us here on Honestly. I'm Barry Weiss. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Tim Dillon Show. What a week. Lot to discuss here, lot to break down, lot to react to. Reaction is what the internet wants. They want a reaction video. React to it. React. There's a lot going on, you know? There's a ton happening. A ton. Over there in Minnesota. Some of it quite violent. Some of it actually, regrettable, which is not a strong enough word. There's no words that are strong enough, you know, when someone gets shot, who I don't think should have been shot, and you say it's regrettable, people are going to get angry with you, and they're here, you said it was regrettable. Well, it's terrible. It's horrible. You know, we gotta take a chill pill. That's what my aunt used to say. She goes, "Why don't you take a chill pill?" You know, when the kids are going, you know, the kids are kind of climbing the walls, and then your mother, your aunt, or you know, some a woman from the neighborhood. I don't want to gender it, but that's not something dads say. It was a mom expression. Hey, take a chill pill. If your father said that he was gay, there's nothing wrong with that. I know a lot of gay people who are actually great parents. I'm not one of them. But if your father said take a chill pill, he was gay. It's something that the woman said. You know? Like, take a chill pill. And that's what we have to do across the board.
Ooh la la la.
You know, you've all been over
somebody's home when their kids were losing it. And they had to turn around to their children and go, why don't you take a few minutes and get yourself together? And that's what we have to do. We want to zoom out for a minute and look at how we got here. I think it's important. I think a lot of people are very emotional, and understandably so, justifiably so. And this isn't breaking down politically necessarily the way people think it would. There's a lot of right-wing people that are concerned about the government cracking down on protest and putting the boot on the neck of citizens. There's a lot of right-wing people that believe that. So it's not necessarily something, broadly speaking, are Republicans more supportive of ICE than Democrats? Absolutely. However, when you go deeper and you look at these shootings, a lot of Republicans, conservatives, in some of the most prominent ones, are dismayed over how these events played out, how they were handled, and, being skeptical of government in any of its manifestations, which is something a lot of right-wing people share. It's understandable why they would look at these events where people got shot needlessly. There were many ways to subdue a Renee Good or an Alex Prey, whatever, without using lethal force. A lot of right-wing people are going, wait a minute. So how we got here, we gotta back up. And I think it's important to do. Because most of what we talk about now is completely ripped from context. Meaning there is no backstory. Nobody understands why things are happening. You're shown a fragment of an event on your phone, and then you have a reaction to it. Immigration is the biggest issue in the world. It's not.
Tonight will be the night that I will fall for you over again. Don't make me change my mind.
It has driven
I won't live to see another day. I swear it's true.
countries.
Because a girl like you's
Things like Brexit in the
impossible
UK,
to
but also
find.
France, Italy,
You're impossible to find.
Europe, the UK, the Netherlands. All of these areas have experienced some form of migration that has intensified over the last decade, but really over the last five to 7 years. And the difficulty with absorbing those waves of immigrants and assimilating them into a culture that's existed for hundreds, thousands, whatever, of years, and the difficulty assimilating them into an economic system that is rapidly changing and in a lot of countries deteriorating. That difficulty has proven to be the catalyst for a lot of political movements and candidates in those countries that are trying to deal with that issue in a myriad of ways. Some people are proposing deportations, some people are proposing a freeze of government benefits, some people are proposing changes to existing law that allows refugees in large numbers to come into the country to claim political asylum. It's not a uniquely American issue. And it's not an issue that has any easy
Santo Maria.
solution. There's none. There's this has never happened before in history where this amount of people migrated to another part of the world this quickly. Usually this was done through war. This was done over a long period of time. So it's been difficult for a lot of these societies, small, relatively homogeneous societies, not only racially, but culturally. Societies have cultures. If you go to Spain, you're going to notice it's a lot different than Louisiana. If you go to Louisiana, you're going to notice it's a lot different than New York, and New York is going to be different from Kansas. We're just talking about states within one country. Different countries have vastly different cultures. So if somebody comes into a country that has a culture that's existed for who knows, but a very long time, and that culture has established norms, and then people come in from a radically different culture that's also existed for a very long time, that has its own set of values, that's hard. I don't know anyone who thinks that's easy. I know dumb people that don't care. And it's your absolute right to be dumb and to not care, or to be so rich you're unaffected, or that your political ideology is some version of be nice. That everyone should kind of be nice. And things tend to work out if everybody is just nice. That's a faction of our society that just believes that the words be nice will heal the divides. And that's okay, you're entitled to have it. I know a lot of people with that. They're wealthy, their privilege globalization has been a boon to them. They're okay, they're doing good. And thinking about any of these issues doesn't interest them. They just don't want to do it, they don't care. They're unaffected, their family is unaffected. And so none of these things tend to interest them. They tend to ignore all these issues because they're hard to talk about. They're sticky issues. They're not dinner party issues. Really, they're not. They're things people talk about in private, they talk about in their home, with close friends. These are not issues that you tend to talk about, like, on a job interview, per se. You know? You don't open with, there's a lot of immigrants. It's not your opener on a job interview. It's interesting, a lot of immigrants here now. Interesting. Some of them are cool. It's just interesting. Like, that's not an opener. The job, you can't do it. Nor should you. I'm not advising it.
You know what?
But these are real issues.
Yeah, baby, yeah.
Well, they shouldn't be issues. Well, good for you that you feel that way. It doesn't matter. They're hugely impactful
My
issues.
people.
Trump was elected twice on this issue. A lot of the European leaders right now, look at Nigel Farage in the UK. Any of the candidates where the wind is at their back, meaning that they're going up the polls, most of them have hard-line positions on immigration.
Big stuff.
They want
Big.
less immigration. Most
Big stuff.
people in countries, when they are polled, including America, want less immigration. That's bipartisan. Now, yes, the Republicans want, whatever. You can politically assign, but on the whole, most people want less immigration across the board when they are polled. There are very few people that want more immigration. They do exist. They do exist. Many of them are billionaires. Many of them are incredibly wealthy people. Many of them are radical libertarians. Many of them don't believe in a state. Some of them are far to the left, where they also don't believe in a state. and they're anarcho-communists, whatever. But the vast majority of people, when they are polled, want less immigration. Now, I don't think that the people that want less immigration want what's happening now. I don't think that people who look at what's happening now, the ICE raids, how random they are, that they're taking people who've lived in the country 20, 30 years, they've raised their children here, their children are citizens, some of their children served in the United States military, they're, productive members of society, they are not criminals, and they are being torn away from their families at a high school graduation. They're being, abducted by guys in masks who are roaming American cities, grabbing people out of their houses and deporting them, some of them to an El Salvadoran prison. Nobody, very few people, I'm gonna say nobody, because there will be people who want that, and they are pretty vocal about that they do want that, specifically that. But I don't think the vast majority of people, even that want less immigration, because obviously the people that want more immigration or whatever, of course they would want that. But let's just talk about the people, and again, it's a majority, that every poll, that want less immigration.
Anybody that wants to screen record me
I
breathing,
don't want this.
that's what I'll be doing for the next 10 to 15 seconds.
It's fundamentally cruel,
Tag me in
And
various
inhumane.
platforms. Thank you.
and it doesn't take into account any specific considerations for people that have been here a long time, people whose children are citizens and have been here a long time. So when you do these random raids, they provoke a response that is justifiably, you're gonna provoke a lot of anger, because this is barbarism. When you go on the Department of Homeland Security social media accounts and you joke about doing these things, and you make memes about doing these things, and it's completely unserious, and you're not treating this with any gravity, and you are exhibiting kind of a sophomoric behavior, and people look at it, this also is disgusting to people who, again, many of them would say that with AI coming, with automation coming,
That
with
was
a
nice.
large number of undocumented
real
people
nice.
here already,
Real
that it's
nice.
it's difficult to imagine how bringing in more people is going to help. In that group of people, they still look at this stuff and go, this is terrible. Folks, I cannot stop talking about Stash. I go out and talk about it, people go, will you stop talking about Stash? I say, you don't need to overhaul your life to start investing, just automate it with Stash. New Year money goals can quietly run in the background while you focus on everything else. Stash isn't just another investment app, it's registered investment advisor. It combines automated investing with expert personalized guidance, so you don't have to worry about gambling or figuring out doing it on your own. Stash is simple, smart, stress-free. Choose from personalized investments, let Stash's award-winning smart portfolio do the work for you, or pick a combo or both. Just $3 per month gets you access to world-class financial advice and personalized guidance, so you can start investing in your future today. Don't let your money sit around, put it to work with Stash. Go to get.stash.com/Tim to see how you can receive $25 towards your first stock purchase and to view important disclosures. That's get.stash.com/Tim.
That's the big one. That's the big one.
Get.stash.com/Tim.
You can do that.
Representative of all
You can
lines
do
of
anything.
investment. Advisory services offered by Stash Investments LLC, an SEC registered investment advisor. Investing involves risk, offer subject to terms and conditions. If the Trump administration came to power and said, listen, we're either going to do a compromise, which I saw Rand Paul talk about on Rogan, it was a quick clip, where you're not getting voting rights because you came in illegally and you're not a citizen. And if we give you voting rights, we'll just see Texas and many other states flip blue and be Democratic states forever. And you'll live in a one-party system. In the same way that there are certain Republicans who love to use these ice raids, but we'll talk about this in a minute, to cancel elections or depress the turnout, and they want to live in a one-party system. But if we give everybody voting rights overnight, you're going to politically change the country in ways that, again, nobody voted for. The problem with this is that nobody voted for it. Nobody voted to bring in however many people we have here. We don't even know. That's the other problem. People are like, it's 10 million, it's 80 million, it's 50 million. I don't know what it is. I don't think anyone does. I don't think it's 80 million. I don't think it's 10 million. I think it's like probably, I don't know, 25, 30 million, but whatever it is, nobody voted for it. So if you bring in 30 million people and then just give them voting rights overnight and say, now you guys can vote, and that fundamentally changes the political structure of the entire country by flipping some of the biggest states, then no one voted for that. You've brought in people to do that. That's not democratic. Nobody voted for this. Nobody in Texas voted. So Rand Paul's compromise was, well, people can just exist. They can work. We're not going to deport them. And they can kind of live in the shadows. Some of them may apply for citizenship, whatever. I think
That was my fat fighting against the rubber, alright? I wasn't passing wind on your hair. I don't do that, okay?
But there's probably
I'm
been 10 million
God's
people
greatest children.
that came over. Yeah, let's watch Rand Paul here, because he's. I don't
Here we
wanna
are.
take,
Happy
a
Saturday.
guess at what he's
Let's keep going.
saying. Because
Keep
we're gonna go
riding
through
the
Rand
lightning
Paul
of
here,
life,
but we're trying to do it
right?
somewhat dispassionately, because I have an interest in less people getting shot in the head. Rand Paul.
You're gonna shock you. I'm a moderate on this. I actually think that most of the people that are here and working lawfully and pass a background check, I would give them no welfare, and I'd give them no citizenship, no voting privileges, but you can work and do all the rest of it.
Okay, no citizenship, but a potential path to citizenship?
I think it's better just to say the trade-off is this, that you came illegally, right now the law says you gotta go back, and you'll never get in, basically. So the compromise is, you came in illegally, you just don't get to be a citizen, you get to be. Now the new ones, the 8 million that might have come in last year, some of them need to go back, particularly any community problems. The compromise I'm offering is different than what we talked about. Everybody's putting against the compromise has to include voting and citizenship. If in Texas, we can amnesty and let, I don't know, a couple million people vote, immediately Texas becomes Democratic for the next 20 years. So that's what it's all about, it's about voting.
All right, so listen, that's an idea. What I find, Biden brought in 10 million people, or some such number. Now there are disagreements about whether those people are fleeing persecution. Some of them are. Some of them are coming for economic reasons. I bet a good amount of them. Most people that live in the regions we're talking about can claim with legitimacy to be fleeing something, because those areas are deeply unstable. And we're not blameless in that either, by the way. It's not our fault in all of those regions, but that's also not lost on me. That we've conducted a lot of wars in the Middle East, we've destabilized areas of Latin America, and then the argument is the debt that you owe those people to fling your borders open and destroy your own country. And then none of us voted for that either. A lot of us didn't vote for it. Some of us did. And when I say destroy the country, it's not simply because, we're bringing in people that don't look white or anything like that. There's a certain amount of wealth inequality that we're there, by the way, where the working class of this country has less and less power. The biggest proponents of immigration when I was younger were pro-capitalist, Koch brothers, libertarians that realized that you could break the back of the working class by bringing in people that would do jobs for a lot less. And unions would have less power, and workers in general would have less power. And the critics of immigration, when I grew up, were the left. Not usually from the right. They were from the Buchananite right, or the paleo-conservatives that worried about borders and language and culture. But the economic critique was from the left. It was not from, the Chamber of Commerce or any of those people. They thought you could grow the economy by bringing in more consumers. Immigrants obviously come in and consume things. And also they would take a lot of the jobs. You just don't want to pay Americans to do. And then we could build houses and buildings, a lot less. In the same way that on the high end in the tech world, the reason that Elon Musk and all these guys want H-1B visas is so they can bring in Indian and Chinese indentured servants who will work, who will sleep in bunk beds, and work at their companies. They don't care that Americans aren't going to get those jobs. And then we're not even focused on training Americans to get those jobs. In the same way that when my aunt told me, well, if we slow down immigration, who's going to be your doctor? And I asked her to explain that, and she goes, well, my doctor's from Pakistan. And he's lovely, and I love him. And by the way, great, but is it odd to anyone that Pakistan, kind of an Islamic, theocratic, somewhat dysfunctional country, from what I remember, is producing doctors for the United States of America? Pakistan is educating doctors that are helping my boomer aunt, and no one thinks that's a problem. And I asked her, I said, well, is that not a problem that we are not creating the conditions where doctors in America are going to med school here and they're from America? And I'm not saying that people from Pakistan have done anything wrong by wanting to be doctors, but how do you run a society where people from other countries come here, either get educated here or they're educated here, but they come here and they have six-figure-a-year jobs while native-born citizens languish in a failed education system where we just send them to prison because they've become addicted to drugs because they're hopeless. And then we've got, 10 cities in America that are doing well, and houses over $10 million sell, but the housing market for first-time homebuyers is completely frozen. How does that society work? What exactly, other than tech feudalism, you can see there the housing market is slumping, but sales over 10 million are skyrocketing. That's not an accident. So, how do you run a society like that? I'm literally asking, and I'm curious. How do you run a society where the people that are born, by the way, white, black, brown, Asian, whatever, that are born in America are languishing, and the job market is very weak, and wealth is consolidating on the high end with the asset-owning class, people that own real estate, stocks, bonds, companies. Billionaire wealth jumps 3 times faster in 2025, the highest peak ever, sparking dangerous political inequality. A lot of that's AI and things like that. It's about 3,000 billionaires for the first time, and none of those billionaires, by the way, have any allegiance to a nation state. Most of them don't. Most of them don't care. So I guess in the mind of the far left, we could kill all those people and redistribute that wealth and find a charismatic dictator or whatever. I mean, that's like a childish college fantasy. But most rational, logical people go, the people coming here from El Salvador didn't do anything wrong. They want to work, they want their families to have better lives, and it's inhumane if they've lived here a very long time, they have roots in a community, to rip them out of it and separate them from their children. But if they've been here 2 or 3 years, 4 years, whatever it is, if they came in the latest wave and they don't have those roots, there needs to be a way to in an orderly fashion, if people are here and they came in illegally, you have to figure out a way to deal with that. And you can do it the way Rand Paul wants to do it. You can encourage them to self-deport by denying benefits. You can pass legislation, whatever. But the performative ICE raids right now that are all over the media, all over the news, and people are disgusted by them, aren't doing the cause of border security any good. So you have to look at these options and figure out what exactly you can do without tearing the country apart. There's a mandate to close the border. Trump was elected with a pretty sizable mandate, specifically on that issue. People do not want more immigration into the United States of America. Again, it's just, they don't want it. They also don't want this. So you've got to figure out a way to do this. What you could do, which Trump does not want to do, is enforce something called E-Verify, which means that it's the employers that will pay fines and possibly be jailed if they hire illegal labor. The reason Trump doesn't want to do that is because his friends in the construction industry and the hotel industry and the agriculture industry don't want him to do that. Because they are the ones
2 seconds.
that are benefiting from the use of illegal labor. Now, and you might do, and they have a point where they go, listen, by the way, we can't just fire everyone who's not legal. We'd be looking at like massive delays, the economy would have a problem. So there is a humane way to do it. There's also an economic way to do it where you don't cause a 3-year slowdown in the construction of houses because there are ways to do it. This administration is not interested in those ways. They're interested in running the country like a reality show. They're interested in passing no legislation. They are not communicative on this issue at all, other than these like childish memes. And they're losing support across the board. But on this issue, they're losing support. Specifically, it's like unserious and cruel. So you have a lot of anger and a lot of protests, and they're turning violent because there's a lot of protests in America that are, we're a crazy group of people, and it turns violent. And yes, some of it's funded, some of it's agitators, whatever. But it's a crazy country. On the left and the right, it's crazy. Everyone is crazy. So it's not really surprising that these things get violent quick, because people are ready to go at the drop of a hat. Not everybody, but there's groups of people that they're ready. They're ready to just start killing people or putting themselves in the line of fire to get killed. So you want to take the temperature down, you want to take children, you have to, otherwise things spiral out of control very quickly. Ethos to me is so important. You need life insurance, folks. You need it. It's so important. When you bring a child into the world, your perspective changes overnight. Suddenly you're thinking years ahead of childcare, school, milestones you can't wait to see. And I have so many friends now that have children and they don't have life insurance, and I've opened one to Ethos. And they're so happy. They're so happy. You can get a quote in seconds, apply in minutes, and get same-day coverage. There's no medical exam. You can answer a few simple health questions. You can get up to $3 million in coverage, so policies are as low as $30 a month. As of March 2025, Business Insider named Ethos the #1 no medical exam instant life insurance provider. Ethos has 4.8 out of 5 stars on Trustpilot with over 3,000 reviews. Protect your family life insurance with Ethos now by going to ethos.com/temp. In as little as 10 minutes, you can get your free quote and up to $3 million in coverage at ethos.com/temp. That's ethos.com/TIM, ethos.com/TIM. Application times and rates may vary. Now that the holidays are over, you might feel like you've got a big spending hangover. The drinks, the holiday food, the gifts, it all adds up. Luckily, Mint Mobile is here to help you cut back on overspending on wireless in January.
Here we go.
50% off unlimited premium wireless. Mint Mobile's end of the year sale is still going on, but only until the end of the month. Cut out big wireless bloated plans and unnecessary monthly charges with 50% off, 3, 6, or 12 months of unlimited. All plans come with high-speed data and unlimited talk and text delivered on the nation's largest 5G network. Use your own phone with any Mint Mobile plan and bring your phone number along with all your existing contacts. I love this product. This January, quit overspending on wireless with 50% off unlimited premium wireless. Plans start at $50 a month at mintmobile.com/Tim. That's mintmobile.com/Tim. Limited time offer, upfront payment of $45 for 3 months, $90 for 6 months, or $180 for 12 months. Plan required $15 a month, equivalent taxes and fees extra. Initial plan term only. Greater than 50 gigabytes may slow a network is busy, capable device required. Availability, speed, and coverage varies. See mintmobile.com. Seymour Hersh just wrote an article alleging, again, Seymour Hersh is a Pulitzer Prize winning reporter.
Wow.
He's alleging, maybe he's been wrong before on certain things. But there's a lot of issues where, you know, a lot of his reporting is held up.
Wow.
He's alleging that this
Golly,
whole
Mr.
thing
Golly.
has been orchestrated to potentially either cancel or depress turnout in midterm elections. And that a lot of people in Trump's inner circle, people like Stephen Miller, want this violence to be used as a justification to either shut down elections or depress turnout in the elections. Let's read a little bit of this. Keep going. So here, anxiety in the White House that both the House and the Senate might fold to the Democrats is acute. Trump's poll numbers are sliding amid the ongoing protests against ICE in Minnesota, and in reaction to the harsh tactics it is using to find and seize undocumented immigrants. He hasn't delivered on promises to end the war in Ukraine. He hasn't delivered on the economy. I've been told by someone with knowledge of White House planning that Miller was a major advocate for the ICE operations in Minnesota that have led to the killing of 2 protesters by federal officers. The ongoing disruption of a major metropolitan area and international condemnation of the administration, but it was Trump who authorized the raids and he has yet to put an end to them. Miller was also the author of an earlier proposal to use local National Guard troops to disrupt the midterm elections in critical states, and Poland predicted that the Republican Party would lose the House. That suggestion, given the current negative polling, the fiasco in Minneapolis, is now dead in the water. Another plan that has been discussed in the White House is to disrupt the future presidential election when Vice President J.D. Vance might be the candidate in the case of a loss at the polls. It was conceived by John Eastman, the disbarred lawyer, is currently appealing his disbarment in California, who also thought up the failed plan after Trump's election loss in 2020. So if this is true, if Seymour Hersh is accurate about this, then we're going to see a civil war, and it won't look like a civil war, but you're going to see something that resembles the closest thing we've seen to a civil war, if this is to happen. If this is true, and I have no problem believing this, by the way, a lot of people spent a lot of money to put this administration in office, and it is very possible those people don't want to have an election that reverses this. So the idea that Stephen Miller was thinking about using an event like this to depress turnout or to just cancel the elections, I was told that Eastman's new scheme, recently the subject of informal discussions in the White House, calls for sympathetic election officials in states where the Democratic candidates win simply to delay or refuse to submit the electoral votes at the time mandated by the Constitution. Eastman's notion is to find a way to avoid the electoral votes from states with a large Democratic plurality so that the number of electoral votes needed to claim the presidency is low enough to turn a losing Republican candidate into a president. So we're at a point where it does seem that some of these things that people, including myself, didn't think were possible do seem to be being discussed, if Seymour Hersh is correct. And if that's the case, there is going to be, we're going to have a huge issue. We already know that this isn't politically breaking down the way people think it is, meaning that a lot of Republicans look at these people executing citizens in the streets and are unhappy with it. And they also know this is the same president, by the way, who just sent Pam Bondi down to meet with Miriam Allison to discuss how to start putting people in jail that Miriam doesn't like, their statement. This is the same president that won't release the Jeffrey Epstein files in their totality. They gaslit everyone, lied, and said they didn't exist. This is the same administration that, has at every turn not reined in Netanyahu. And it's the same administration that is supporting a lot of these very vague laws they're putting on the books. I think Florida to make criticism of Israel a punishable offense. The way they criticize immigration in the UK is becoming a punishable offense. Somebody can show up to your door in the UK, knock on your door, and detain you for criticizing immigration if you do it in a way that's not, articulate. If they feel that you said something indelicate, they can show up to your house, knock on your door, they can charge you with a crime, they can put you in jail. This is the same administration that is, behind a lot of these laws or co-signing a lot of these laws that will allow criticism of a foreign government to be labeled hate speech and will make it a punishable offense. It's the same administration that's allowed a takeover of, TikTok from the Ellison family. They support Paramount buying CBS News. They support all of these things. And this is the full politicization, not only of media, which has always been true to an extent, but also now social media, where you have a space where the word Epstein is being censored. Is that true? Didn't you tell me that on TikTok? That videos about Epstein are being censored? So all of this violence in Minnesota and the discussions about, again, can't verify this, but it is Seymour Hersh, a legit reporter. All of the discussions about disrupting elections or canceling elections, they're all against, they would be wrong no matter what, obviously, but they're all against the backdrop of an administration that is doing all of these things. That has billionaires buying TikTok to censor the mention of Epstein. You have the Attorney General going down to meet with the billionaire Miriam Allison, the owner of the Dallas Mavericks, and going, by the way, what are your concerns? And the people that elected this guy and that put him into office are at a grocery store figuring out how they're going to get groceries. Just days after mainly American investors approved by Donald Trump took control over TikTok, some users are now saying the app is censoring and limiting their content, including posts about Jeffrey Epstein and the shooting deaths of U.S. citizens by federal agents in Minneapolis. So it's time to admit, for all the people out there that are the diehard MAGA people, I don't want to, the boomer types that really, truly get a kick out of the guy. He's funny. They get a kick out of him. And we talked about it last week. They love him. They can't really be bothered with their own family, but they love this guy. This is pretty obvious. This is pretty blatant. This is pretty blatant. This is all the things that I would listen to Alex Jones talk about when I was younger, are happening. And I've said it before. And that's not to say, by the way, that that I'm like somehow a fan of post-war liberal CIA interventionist neoconservative war hawk, flood the inner cities with cocaine, fund the Contras, we get it, okay? But let's just talk specifically for a minute about what you see happening in front of your face. Against the backdrop of all of this, we have ICE in the street, we have the National Guard, we have people talking about the Insurrection Act, and you can't talk about it on TikTok. You can't talk about Jeffrey Epstein on TikTok. And they're passing laws in Florida telling you if you criticize. Now, by the way, can you get up the video of the woman who said something about the mayor of Miami and they just knocked on her door? So, again, that's coming here. And you thought these people were the free speech people, they campaigned as the free speech people, and they were truly criticizing the left, which in the 2020s had lost their mind and were censoring people that said, maybe this virus came from China, and they were kicking them off social media. But here's a video, again, it's the United States of America. Miami Beach police questions woman over social media posts regarding the Jewish mayor, whom she says calls for the death of all Palestinians. From what I read about this woman's tweet, it was a somewhat innocuous political opinion that you may or may not disagree with. But again, take a look here. It's the United States of America, in Florida, Republican Florida. Let's take a look at this. There you go.
I refuse to answer your questions without my lawyer present, so I really don't know how to answer that question. This is freedom of speech, this is America, right?
This is America.
Okay.
We're just trying to see this stupid, and we're not talking to the right person, we wanna go see the right person.
Okay, how can I help you?
So pretty much it's just a statement that was made as far as,
Maybe that the guy who consistently calls for the death of my house to you, that we shut down the theater for showing a movie that hurts the feelings, and refuses to stand up and get the community anyway, even if the rules will be broken when it is matters. I want you to know that all of them don't waste time.
By the way, about that, she didn't say let's kill the guy. She didn't call for violence. She made a the guy canceled the movie, pro-Palestinian movie he didn't like, and she goes, this guy calls for the death of all Palestinians, doesn't stand up for the LGBT community, whatever, I don't like the guy, clown face, These people are at her house. Didn't J.D. Vance go to Europe and start talking about free speech and how embarrassing it is that Europeans didn't have free speech? Didn't he do that? This is Florida. It's Republican-controlled Florida, by the way. They're censoring your posts on TikTok. Anyone who's not criticizing this, anyone who's not calling this out, I cannot trust them. I don't know why they're not calling it out. I don't know if there's a financial benefit to them not calling it out, or if they feel that one side's already won and they want to be on that side. I don't know if they're fearful of something or other, but if you're not calling this out, if you don't think this is wrong, if you make a living speaking, if you're a comedian, podcaster, journalist, whatever you are, doesn't really matter. If you are a YouTuber, if you're a social media personality, if you make a living using your fat mouth, and you don't think this is a problem, you don't think getting a group of billionaires that are ideologically aligned to go buy an app and then start censoring the content on the app, it was a problem when it was being done during COVID, And it's a problem when it's being done now. And if you don't care about that, and if you think that's not gonna affect you for whatever reason, I can't trust you and I can't listen to what you say, you don't have any credibility to me. So that it doesn't mean that, you know, there aren't considerations politically of like, you know, who's gonna censor us? How about nobody? How about no one? How about you can't call for the death of people, you can't call for violence against people, you can't dox people, but you can have a political opinion without people showing up at your door with a badge in Florida, Republican Florida, Trump Florida, Trump country. So this is coming here. And these ICE raids and these executions are against the backdrop of all of this. And the discussion about the midterm elections and whatever credibility it has with Stephen Miller and Eastman and whoever, it's against the backdrop of this. An administration that campaigned on being pro-free speech, but very quickly realized that they were only pro the free speech that they liked. So many people right now are having so much success with Nutrafol. Every January, it feels like we're told to reinvent ourselves. New year, new you, right? But we know the real progress doesn't happen overnight. It comes from steady, consistent work. That's exactly what Nutrafol believes. Hair growth isn't about shortcuts or quick fixes. It's about supporting yourself and your hair with the right routine so you can stay strong, confident, moving forward. Nutrafol is the #1 dermatologist recommended hair growth supplement brand, trusted by over 1.5 million people. Plus, it is also the #1 selling hair growth supplement brand. Nutrafol targets the key root causes of thinning in men, like stress and hormonal changes, because it's not about genetics. Nutrafol men's supplements are peer-reviewed, 100% drug-free, and NSF content certified and clinically proven to improve your hair growth, all that impacting sexual performance. Skip the shortcuts and see thicker and stronger hair in 3 to 6 months with Nutrafol. For a limited time, Nutrafol is offering our listeners $10 off your first month subscription and free shipping when you go to Nutrafol.com and enter the promo code TIM. Find out why Nutrafol is the best-selling hair growth supplement brand at Nutrafol.com, spelled Nutrafol.com, promo code TIM. That's Nutrafol.com, promo code TIM. And so, when you look at this, and you zoom out, I think we've done a decent job of doing it. You say to yourself, we have a very big problem. We have a very, very big problem. And listen, I'm not solving it. And it's not my job to solve it. But I'm just telling you right now that if you're not disturbed by this, and your spidey senses aren't going off a little bit or a lot, you know? We have a lot of people in this country that have taken flights of fantasy. I mean, the way that adults now react to television shows, whether it's Stranger Things or Heated Rivalry, whatever these shows are that are super popular, The Summer I Turned Pretty, whatever. The way that adults are dealing with television shows, attacking the actors in the show for not living up to, is the girl on I Love LA too brown? Did she go on a tanning bed? What? Is she going Ashkenazi to Sephardic? What? And these are real things that people are saying. The way that adults are engaging with entertainment shows that adults are degenerating and regressing. And they're unable to tell the difference between real and fake. They're unable to discern what an actor is, who's playing a role that was written by a writer. They're not able to do this anymore. They've lost the ability to do it. They get in these little fan cults and lose their fucking mind. They can't just enjoy a show. They have to know everything about the actors on the show, what their political opinions are, who they're fucking. They want to know their sexuality. They want to know what exactly they believe about everything. They want to know how much they're hanging out with the other actors on the show. Are they hanging out? Is it fake? Is it real? They want to know all of these things. They have a weird, toxic relationship with entertainment. actually matter. But in the absence of that, or in the denial of that, people are like concerning themselves with like how much the two guys in heated rivalry actually hang out. Why aren't they together more? Do they not like each other? To the point where these people have to come out and go, hey man, I like the guy, he's my friend, but like we are separate humans. We have lives. But it's not enough. If a character on a show does something that people disagree with, they then attack the actor on the show. They go on the actor's social media and attack the actor because they're unable to tell the difference. Or, here's something even more disturbing, they don't care. They don't care that there's a difference because they need to channel their anger and their passion into something, and they don't own a house. So they need to channel it into the fucking summer I turned pretty and debate the religious affiliation of the actor. Is Jewish actress Odessa Azion a Zionist? Artie Supreme star. This is so incredibly gross. Number one, it's just straight up anti-Semitic to tell the woman, oh, you're Jewish? You better speak up now. Fuck off. That's bullshit. She shouldn't have to say anything about anything she doesn't want to say anything about, by the way. If you need your political opinions from actors, you're a fucking retard, by the way. You should get them from podcasters, dummy. But here's the reality. People can no longer engage responsibly with this type of stuff. As soon as there's a hit show, a fandom develops, these people start frothing at the mouth, they love it, then they start turning, because by the way, this is kind of a problem, and I see this a lot on and I'm not trying to make this political, but you see this a lot on the left. The left, because they don't really have traditional, a lot of them don't have traditional religion, but it's so ingrained in our DNA, they create these quasi-religious moments where there's like an epiphany, and their epiphany is like, I don't know, a show about fucking people in LA, or the gay hockey players, whatever, and then they have this thing like, wow, this is an amazing example of art and love and this and that, and then immediately they start turning on it. They need to turn on it. They need to get angry about it, and they need to prove to themselves and others it's not actually as good as they thought. And this actress has bad takes and some bad opinions, and I'm really depressed about this. They ride high on this thing, and then, as if they have to crucify everybody, and then the part of them that wants it to be bad, that wants the experience to leave them empty and unfulfilled, they want to get angry. They need it. They need to tear these people apart. It's something that I've witnessed over and over, and now they're doing it to actors. For a while they were doing it to like comedians and podcasts, and they're still doing it to those people, don't get me wrong. But now it's like actors, and these people, actors don't even know where they are half the time. I know actors. They don't even know where they are. Asking actors to have political opinions is cruel. It's the same thing as dragging the kids out of the fucking ice, that poor little kid with a little fucking blue hat. Like, asking an actor to have a well-articulated political opinion is cruel. It's barbaric, and it's inhumane. Actors exist to be hot and or interesting looking, to be diplomatic, and they should be able to slip into roles. They should be good at being other people. That's their skill. Dragging them out into the light ruins it. It ruins it. The reason Succession was a great show
bless that girl. What was her name? Sydney Sweeney? Who was that? Wow, that was a sensational photo that young man put up on the screen. Okay, everybody, like me here, love me everywhere else, okay? Keep rocking what you got, keep doing what you do, because you do it so well. I'm proud of you, and I'll see you again soon. Thank you for subscribing. If you haven't done so, do so already. If you can't subscribe, you can only follow. That's great. And if you'd like to comment, I'd love to hear what you have to say about it. Alright? Keep doing what you do. I'll see you again soon. Happy Saturday. Everybody in the future as well. Future people.